This is Wick and Helen for Camino Provisions. We're excited tonight to share some of the tips that we've learned walking the Camino for the past 12 years. And with that, we're going to just jump right into some questions that we've gotten and hopefully be a help to you.
Our first question comes from Anne, and she asks about cell service for mobile phones on the Camino. She lives in Canada, and she's walking the Camino Frances this month. So we want to say, first of all, that if you want to use your own phone, you'll need to find out from your service provider at home what kind of international plan they might have, and just see how expensive that is. Sometimes it is really expensive. If that's the case, if you have a phone that is unlocked, you can actually get a SIM card from a Spanish phone company. The biggest ones are Vodafone and Orange, and you would just walk in one of those stores with your phone, and they would actually have maybe a couple of different plans. But yes, you can get a Spanish SIM card. The other thing to think about is that Wi-Fi is very available along the Camino, not when you're out in the middle of nowhere, but at most albergues, hotels, and restaurants of any size, they do have Wi-Fi. We would just say maybe you can get by with using your Wi-Fi calling techniques, whether that's FaceTime or Skype or something like that. Otherwise, if you're just accessing information that can be accessed on internet, you may not even need a SIM card. So, and then the next question comes from Celeste, and she says that she is arriving into Santiago de Compostela about 6 p.m. on a Sunday night. And her question is it best for her to stay the night in Santiago there, or go on to Sarría, where she's going to start walking? And our answer to that would be, if it were us, we would spend the night in Santiago de Compostela. When you get off the plane and go through immigration and all the rigmarole at the airport, it's a very nice small airport in Santiago. You come out and there's a city bus waiting right there at the airport to take all the pilgrims and anybody else into Santiago. It's a couple of euros, and you could just go right into Santiago on that bus. It's about a 30-minute drive from the airport. We would recommend maybe booking a hotel, booking.com or hotels.com, something like that, Airbnb. Book it before you get to Santiago, and then you know right where you're going to go when you get off the bus. You can either walk, if you've made plans for a place that's in the city, old city, or near the old city, or just take a taxi. They are around. So that would be how we would do it. And then you would just either go by bus or train, preferably bus, to Sarría on Monday. And this is where we want to tell you about one of our top tips for knowing how to get around, and that is roamtorio.com. And I actually have the app on my phone. This is a free service, and I plugged in what you asked about. How do you get to from Santiago to Sarría? And it comes up with all the different ways, and I don't think you can see it, but it basically shows you the bus is the recommended way, and you can click on bus, and it actually takes you to the route and how often it runs. This is a great tool to have when you're really any kind of travel, but on the Camino, when you're having to figure out if there's even a bus that goes from one place to another. That's a great tip.
One thing we do recommend is that you go to the bus station first thing in the morning and secure your place, because most seats are first come, first served. And if you're on a route where a lot of people are trying to go, When they run out of seats, they run out of seats. So go on over there. And the other thing is, if you're not a European, you probably will have to talk to a ticket agent. And you're not
at the ticket window.
Right, you're not able to use their little electronic machines. So just thought I'd mention that. The next question we have is from Melanie Ann, and she says, I'm thinking about walking the Portuguese Camino next year, but I'm finding it hard to find much information guided or online. After doing the French way in 2017, I'm wondering if the Portuguese way is as well signposted and if albergues are as readily available. Well, we have been on the Portuguese, and there are signposts and there are albergues. However, nothing is like the Francais in terms of infrastructure. It's by far the most traveled, and because of that, there's the most infrastructure and it's the best marked. However, the Portuguese is very nice. A lot of people are starting to enjoy that because it's less crowded than the Francais. So we would just recommend that you get John Brierley's book on the Camino Portugués, and we believe the Confraternity of St. James also has a guide. And between the two of them, and there's also a village-to-village guide. So there are good resources, and we would recommend you go and get those and see what you see, and then plan your trip accordingly.
Those are available on Amazon.
The next question we had was from Angela. She said, interested in doing the Camino, I can't map read. Is it hard to follow the route? And our answer would be, good news. It's not hard to follow the route because it's very well marked, particularly if you're walking the Francais. The other thing we would tell you is if you ever feel like, gosh, I'm not seeing a lot of other pilgrims and somehow I don't feel like I'm on the trail anymore, you can ask most any Spaniard along the Camino that you come in contact with. Just say, El Camino de Santiago, and they will start pointing you in the direction if you've gotten off track. So you do not have to be a good map reader in order to walk the Camino.
Shannon L. asks, or says she's interested in walking the English way. Camino Ingles is the Spanish way. She says she's in her 70s and has no training, but she likes to walk and hike, but she does have some difficulty with hills. She just has to go slowly. What is the best time of year? And what we would say about that is the Inglés route runs from north to south, right on the coast of northern Spain, down to Santiago, ends in Santiago. It's a little over 100K. You would maybe want to think about the fall for that. It tends to be a rainy region of Spain, and the spring tends to be more rainy in Spain. The summer, you might want to go on online and just do a search for temperatures for the month that you're planning on walking. Temperatures for Galicia, Spain, or Galicia is how they say it, but Galicia, Spain, just temperatures, and just see what the average temperatures are and see if that sounds like a good time for you. Just see what the average weather stuff is for that. And one thing to say about the Inglés, we had a daughter and her husband walked this just a year ago, and it was in spring. It was right at Easter, and they encountered a lot of rain and cooler temperatures. And they said that one thing about the Inglés is there are a couple of sections, one particular section that it's kind of a long distance between towns. And if you can't walk that long of a distance in one day, there is the option of when you're in a town, the last town that you leave, ask your host, either the hotel clerk or the hospitalero at your albergue, ask them for the phone number of a taxi. And that's always an option if you get to a place where you just can't walk anymore one day. If you're in an area that has a taxi, you can get a taxi to the next town. So that's an option. Abby says she has 1 week to walk. Where do we recommend starting? Where does we recommend her starting? That she start? And we would have to ask you, Abby, what's most important to you to earn a Compostela? That means you would have to start at least 100K out from Santiago and walk in, and you could do that in a week probably. And that would be starting from Sarría probably, or Tui, Spain, which is south of Santiago, right on the border of Portugal, or the Inglés. But if you just want a Camino experience, you could walk a week anywhere. A lot of Europeans that we have met when we've walked are actually doing a week or 2 weeks each year. They start and then stop, and then the next year they come back and start where they stopped and picked up. So they actually are doing it from the very beginning in Santiago, in Saint Jean Pied de Port, and just taking a few years to do it. So that's another idea.
Our next question comes from Elsie. She says, I'll be in Ponferrada in a week. Now, this was a couple of weeks ago. Well, I have trouble finding a hostel for an overnight stay. I'm only doing the last 200 kilometers. One of the things we would say, it really doesn't matter where you're starting. We recommend your first night to have booked a place to stay ahead of time. That way, when you get in, you've got a place to get a good night's rest before you get out on the trail the next day. And we think that's really important. So we recommend, again, booking.com, hotels.com, somebody, Airbnb, just to find a place, and that way you can relax. You can go ahead and get there, get checked in, and then get ready to walk the next day. So that would be our recommendation. It also gives you an opportunity to see, are things crowded or aren't they crowded? And then you can make your plans accordingly.
Question that's just come in from Anne. And Anne, I actually answered that question first tonight. So you can watch the recording of this and get the answer about your phone there. A follow-up is, where do I fly home from once you're in Santiago? There is an airport in Santiago, and I don't know, you're going to Canada. So you can either come through Madrid or come through London or Paris, and then train or take short flights from those bigger hubs. And you might just want to price all of those and figure out which one is most cost effective from where you live. But Santiago does have an airport, and they have short flights to Madrid, London, and Paris to connect to flights home.
We've normally been flying we fly to the States, and we've gone different places in the States over the years. And I would say most of the time we've gone from Santiago to Madrid as our way to fly.
And this is also one of your questions, recommendations for backpacks for women. And I would guide you to our website, caminoprovisions.com, for really detailed information. We have a navigation tab on that website that's called Gear Reviews, and we review our favorite gear items for the Camino there. And so we have the actual names of the backpacks, but our favorite line of backpacks is by Deuter. It's a German company. I'm probably massacring that German name. It's Deuter. And they make women-specific packs, which has to do with the shoulder strap design. And also, we recommend just small packs, and we have a great free packing list on our website as well that you can download for free. But go to the website and read the reviews of the packs we have there for men and women, and you'll see why our favorites are our favorites, the features that we like the best.
Something that we would really appreciate you all doing too is if you're liking what you're hearing tonight, if you could just respond with comments or sharing with other people, some likes, tell us what you want, what would be helpful to you, because our goal is to help people learn how to do this in the best way for them. The next question that we had was from Sandra. How is the weather in Spain, or at least from around León to Santiago in early May? Well, the answer is it's great most of the time. Okay, at that time of year, the temperature should be wonderful. The part that you never know, because this is an outdoor activity, is are we going to have rain or not? We would say as you get closer to Galicia, the chances for rain go up. We've been there all different times, and yeah, sometimes it rains, sometimes it doesn't. Almost just like being at home, you know? So again, we think that's a great time to walk and that you'll have a good time doing that. The next question came from Abby. What is the average spend for the Camino on food and accommodation per day? We found that normally 15 to 20 euros will do really well for food, and that's having a nice pilgrim meal at night, and then snacks and breakfast during the day. Just, you know, bocadillo, jamón. You'll get sick of ham sandwiches, but anyway, that it will do great for food. And then on top of that is your accommodation, and there's such a wide range of that. Again, we recommend you look at our website. Helen discusses that at length in her guidebook and also on our website. So I believe that, again, we hear a lot of people say 30 to 40 euros per day or 40 to 50 euros per day, and that you can be pretty comfortable doing that. So I hope that's helpful.
Angela asks that says she's undecided whether to carry everything or have some luggage transported from town to town. What is the cost of luggage transfer? Well, the luggage transport is one of the best things that can help pilgrims actually make their goal of Santiago and keep them injury-free. Two companies that we know of transport backpacks or luggage. That is El Correos, which is the Spanish postal system, and a company called Jacotrans, Jacotrans. And both of them have been doing it for a while. And you don't have to decide to do it for your entire walk. No. If you want to just do it for a couple of days, or like going over the Pyrenees is a really tough day. If you start in Saint-Jean, you might want them to carry your pack for you that day. And if you do that, then you just carry a day pack with your water, snack, valuables, and send the rest by the transport service. So the way that works is you talk to your hospitalero, your host at the albergue, or your hotel clerk, and say, when you check in, say you'd like to do that. They tell you where to have your backpack and the other particulars. Just the next morning, then you just have to have your pack where they told you to do it. And
they'll give you an envelope that goes on your pack with where it's going and to put the money in.
It's usually about €5 per day. And so, like I said, you can decide each day whether to do it or not. And it has saved us lots of times when we had a lot of distance to cover and we're just worn out, and it kept us from having injuries too. So, and
again, it can be a day-by-day thing. You can just decide when you want to do it and when you don't, which is fantastic. Maureen asks, wondering if anyone has had an issue with dogs on the walk. And we personally haven't had any problems with dogs, but we have heard that there are occasionally dogs, just like here at home, that aren't as friendly as we would like. Because we recommend everyone that's walking use walking poles. You'll be all set should there be an angry dog. So we think that is really not a problem, but should it become a problem, if you have a walking pole, you'll be all set.
Yeah. And there, you do walk through a lot of rural areas that are farms, agriculture, growing things.
Yeah.
And the path takes you right through some farms, sometimes near barns, and you do have dogs bark at you. If you were to have one come out, I would say just keep walking, don't run, keep walking. And if they come closer like they're going to bite you, that's when you use your walking pole to defend yourself. But we haven't had a problem.
We've never
personally.
had a problem. No.
Yeah. Well, again, we wanted to hop on and answer these questions. Our goal is to help more people make this fabulous walk and have this amazing walk of a lifetime that we've experienced several times, and so many of our family and friends have. So you don't know what you don't know when you set out to find out about the Camino. and so we're just here to try to help more people find out enough to get started and make the trip. If you want, if you like this and want more information like this, or if you have other ideas for us of what you'd like to see and hear from us, please let us know in the comments. We'd really appreciate it. I guess
With
till
that,
next time.
yeah,
Buen Camino.